This is the water heater where the temperature pressure relief valve drains to, and the safety pan, and they should not be further from the ground than 6 inches. And so these pipes terminate too high from the structure. These paving stones are not dimensionally uniform. But we're talking about the air conditioning system. The evaporator coil discharges too close to the house. It's okay. It's okay that it discharges to the exterior. Not ideal, but the house is, back in the day, this house is built before, no doubt, it's built before Central. So this is the way it was retrofitted. But it's okay so long as it doesn't become a nuisance. And this close to the structure, obviously, it's going to be a nuisance. Okay, when this condensing unit was installed 5 years ago, this foam was not acceptable. Okay? This foam, you see people have been scratching on it and stuff. Sun's UV rays, see how it's coming away from the piping. It should be a different type of foam. A different type of foam should have been installed on this. And then these valves, the refrigerant service valve port caps, Schrader valves, look that up. But these caps should have been anti-theft. This is the disconnect. It's to the side right here. And we can see that it's laced up pretty good. We're doing all right there. One thing we do not have an electric receptacle outlet. So if the technician needs to run a vacuum pump or something to service your equipment, you're probably going to have to horse an extension cord out the door or through a window or something. So we do not have a service electric receptacle outlet. This is the data plate where we learned that it's 5 years old and the refrigerant is R410A. That's what we learned, that this is a 2.5 ton system. We learned that it was manufactured in 2016. So now the foundation pad is supposed to keep the condensing unit a minimum of 3 inches above the ground. And there should be a rain diverter. A rain diverter should have been installed over the condensing unit so that water doesn't crash down on top of it. So what did we learn? We learned, and this disconnect box should have been sealed on 3 sides. We also learned that the electric service drop is at 10 feet. Okay, it's close. It's close. Is it in the trees? No, that's close too. The meter's not supposed to be higher than 6 foot 6 inches. The weatherhead is supposed to extend above the roof covering. This is the way they used to do it. The drip loop looks okay. But just because I used to do it that way doesn't mean that it meets current standards. So the meter, of course, they would replace that when they replaced the electric service panel that we talked about. We put a service panel out here, and the meter would be right there, and the service mast would go above the roof. All that would happen with the update, because you can't put an electric service panel back into a closet. I mean, I say you can't, you shouldn't. So what do we learn? We learned that our service drop is kind of close to the ground. We learned that our meter's kind of high. We learned that our weather head does not extend over the roof covering. We learned that our disconnect should have been sealed on 3 sides. We learned that we do not have a service receptacle outlet. We learned that the wrong kind of foam was installed on a refrigerant line, and they did not put anti-theft devices on it. We also learned that the condensing unit was not elevated a minimum of 3 inches above grade, and we learned also that a rain diverter should have been installed over the condensing unit.